Hello, good evening. And it's been a long 3 months or so, 4 months now. Jeez. Um, but we're back finally, and we are happy to say that we are back with the next in the line of adventure paths from Pathfinder. We're going to be bringing you Curse of the Crimson Throne. So I scroll down here so the viewers at home can see the bottom and the title. Um, This is going to be a bit of a shift from what we were doing in Rise of the Rune Lords. It's going to be a more urban focused campaign, a little more social encounter heavy as far as the balance is concerned. And I am very excited for this new sort of twist on how we play our game. So you might notice that there are only 4 character stat blocks listed. Rob is going to be more of a recurring character this campaign, as we, of course, congratulate him that he just had a kid. So that's going to be taking up a lot of his time. And Leah, unfortunately, is just too busy right now, and that's fine. Maybe we'll see her later on, but let's not dwell on that. How about you guys? Are you guys ready to go? All right. Yeah, there's, probably 3 years or so. That's how long it took the last one, yeah. So, all right. Well, let's begin with a small reminder of where we left off. All right. We are currently about 3 weeks or so post the end of Rise of the Rune Lords in our last session. So Karzug had been defeated by the Saviors of Sandpoint, you guys and your previous characters. And the Rune Lords' plot to return to the material plane and conquer Varizia had ultimately been thwarted by the rifle and bullet of Urslan Pharaoh, which struck true and sent Karzug plummeting into the lake of lava beneath his throne in the Eye of Avarice. After his defeat, word began to spread of the brave heroes who had saved the world, but as one great evil falls, another stirs to the southeast, and in turn, a new band of adventurers may yet rise to stop it. Our focus is going to shift over to Korvosa just before the start of spring. And as I said, roughly 3 weeks after Karzug's passing. So a little bit of background on Korvosa. It's placed at the mouth of the Jagari River, makes it one of the premier trade hubs in the region. As a city-state, it is slightly larger than Magnamar, and the rivalry between the two is at times fierce. Those from Magnamar have not forgotten that Korvosa was once under Chelish rule, and though Korvosa is now independent, the lineages and traditions of many Korvosans can be traced back to Cheliax. Korvosa, much like Sandpoint, has ties to ancient Thassalon, as it was built upon the ruins of Zin Eurythnia, which was once the capital of Runelord of Lust, Sorshin's great nation. Korvosa and the land it controls are home to a proud and pragmatic populace. They are known for valuing confidence and competence, particularly in the fields of creativity, knowledge, wealth, and power. At the governance level, Korvosa is a city of regulation and law, although much of the law is layered and convoluted in such a way that it almost reads like an infernal contract rather than a proper legal document. If it sounds like a recipe for corrupt rulers to run roughshod over a city, you'd be right. Although the power of the monarchy is checked by several other government entities within Korvosa, the history of its kings, queens, and prior to becoming a monarchy, lord magistrates has been a mixed bag at best. The current ruler, King Eadrid Arabasti II, has enjoyed a steady reign, though an unremarkable one. Under his watch, Korvosa has enjoyed strengthened trade relations with Cheliax, and the noble houses in both cities have seen positive results since he took the throne. Eadred was not without his faults. Rampant spending and rumors of a scandalous love life have dogged his rule. It came as no surprise to the rumor mongers that when Eadred finally decided to take a wife, she was barely a third of his age. His bride, Queen Iliosa, has some of the nobles worried that King Eadred has placed what they would call a trophy wife too close to the throne. However, Corvosa's seneschal has Castle Corvosa's best interests at the forefront and has done enough to ease the nobles' concerns for now. Corvosa's royalty isn't the only instance of questionable activity within the city's walls. Though the upholding of law is held in high regard, not every deviant appears to be worth the Corvosan Guard's time. Corvosa is home to numerous crime lords and even has a thieves' guild known as the Cerulean Society, which strikes some outsiders as an oddity in a city that prohibits merchants, artisans, and laborers from forming guilds of their own. Ironically, it is these minor groups that do the most damage to Corvosa's commoners, and there simply aren't enough available man-hours for the guard to keep them all in check. One of these unscrupulous thugs goes by the name of Gaedren Lamm. Lamm missed his chance at making a big splash in Corvosa's seedy underbelly, and now that he's well past his prime, he engages in abducting orphans and forcing them to support his lifestyle through petty crimes such as pickpocketing or running contraband to various buyers. The list of those he has wronged in his lifetime is as long as a dozen summer days, and everyone who has ever been crossed by him would love to see a healthy dose of comeuppance delivered to his door. A few individuals have recently decided to take matters into their own hands. Hey, that's you guys. And the realization that they share a common enemy could vault them into even greater heroics. And now I'm going to go into each of your sort of paraphrase backstories in turn. Starting, we'll go alphabetically. So, Nadia is a Corvosan human with fiery red hair, and she is the third child of 4 to her loving parents. Disaster struck her life when Gaedren Lamm kidnapped her and her younger sister, Vondilla, right off the streets as they walked home from school one day. In keeping with Lamm's sadistic nature, Nadia was separated from her sister and spent 6 long years under his thumb before she managed to escape his clutches, eventually finding refuge within the Church of Shaelin. The church took her in without hesitation, seeing her not as a ragged orphan looking for a handout, but a beautiful soul who just needed some nurturing to find her way. Nadia chose to bide her time while immersing herself in her new faith, taking the next 4 years to learn how to defend herself, discover the wonders of divine magic, and search the city for her younger sister as well as the rest of her family in her free time. She grew to embody each and every one of Shaelin's tenets, but it was her protective nature that Nadia gravitated towards most. In truth, her biggest motivator is the desire to reunite her family and regain the time that she lost while being held against her will by Gaedren Lamm. Nadia sorely missed the days spent playing outside with her sister Vondilla, going shopping with her parents at the various markets within Corvosa, and seeing her friends every day at school. Though she made little progress on her rounds when searching for her family, she took solace in the knowledge that soon she would be ready to carve her own path into the world and find the strength and resilience that she needed to double her efforts. That day came sooner than she could have ever expected. After waking up one morning, Nadia got out of bed and found an item that didn't belong to her sitting on the desk in her room. To her surprise, there was a single Harrow card, the midwife, placed there, with a message on the back of the card. The message instructed her to go to a specific address later that evening. Nadia had her doubts, but after consulting with some of the more senior members of the clergy, she felt more confident that she could handle whatever comes her way. As someone who knows quite a lot about the denizens that make up the various crime syndicates in Corvosa, Reef has been playing dangerous games for years. Reef's fellow Wyvern never thought much of him or his skills, but one talent that Reef had in spades was the ability to rally the underdogs of the world around him to his cause. To that end, Reef found himself overseeing a pack of ambitious kobolds who love to get their hands dirty. Over the years, Reef and the kobolds have carried out several minor heists and mercenary jobs for many of the so-called highest bidders in the city, including more notorious groups like the Zarni Gang, which has terrorized Verozia for longer than anyone cares to admit. Reef and his crew were recently hired for what should have been a routine collection job at a small settlement outside of the city, but when they arrived, no inhabitants were present. They decided to inspect the area further, but upon entering the largest house, they were ambushed. They were locked inside and assaulted by a rival group, and Reef's kobold stood little chance in a straight up fight against them. Reef did his best to get as many of his henchmen as he could to safety, but he blacked out while attacking his foes in a blind rage and ended up getting captured. Some of Reef's more experienced troops managed to escape with their lives, but the rest, as well as many of his own assailants, were not so fortunate. His captors revealed themselves to be allied with Gaedren Lamm, and after witnessing Reef's fighting prowess and will to live, they conscripted Reef into servitude alongside them, forcing him to further Gaedren's interests. Reef remained in captivity until a lapse in security brought him an opportunity to slip away into the night. And sometime after making his exit, he came across a lone Harrow card that was caught in a tree branch slightly above his head. He grabbed it and made a mental note of the card's name, which was the Sickness. And I actually intended to have like the disturbed soundbite for this, but I never got around to it. I'm sad. Well, we could just imagine it, you know. Good. So yes, he made a mental note of the card's name before flipping it over and finding a written note on the back. Contained an address and a time, and Reef believed that this good fortune could lead to much more than just another job. The time to exact revenge on Gaedren Lamm for his treachery was indeed close at hand. Most adventurers find the call to action through tragedy or otherwise life-altering circumstances, such as being orphaned, coming from a poor family, or a desire to protect those around them. Serotonin, great name. I cannot stress that enough. Though human like many others, is not like any of those hypothetical people. The middle child of a middle-class family, Sarah's natural charisma and good looks earned her a fair bit of popularity in her younger years. She discovered her love for music when her older sister, Kira, was trying to learn how to play the lute. Kira and Sarah seemed to always be competing with one another, and this sibling rivalry came to a head when Sarah overheard Kira butchering one of her favorite songs, causing Sarah to say as much after Kira asserted that she had played it flawlessly. Kira said that Sarah would never play the lute as well as she could, a challenge that Sarah embraced and accepted. From that point on, she would practice the lute on her own whenever Kira was studying or otherwise preoccupied. Unlike her sister, Sarah chose to capitalize on an additional resource that Kira refused to make use of, the local bard Samuel Smith. Sarah offered to maintain his instruments in exchange for lessons, but instead Samuel merely asked Sarah to play for him for an hour in front of his home, and through her effort, she won herself an apprenticeship. Sarah learned many different instruments and methods of performance under Samuel's tutelage, but more importantly, she learned valuable life skills. She used her talents to land a gig playing her neighbor's 50th birthday party, her first paid solo performance. She far outperformed her perceived skill and experience at the age of only 16, and thus her music career was born. Kira never supported Sarah's choice to pursue a life in music, so she found comfort in her closest friend, Dave Cooper. Dave was being groomed to take over his family's business, which was an apothecary in Corvosa's gold market. They shared a deep appreciation for each other's company, but neither knew that the other wanted more. Things took a turn when Sarah had a major score. She had just finished another wonderful performance at a local festival when she was approached by Gaedren Lamm himself. Having been told to avoid him for her whole life, Sarah was cautious about the encounter, but Gaedren was there to offer her a gig. He was holding a huge party and needed entertainment and offered Sarah 200 gold to take the job, 20 up front. Sarah agreed on the condition that everything was put in writing. Her overwhelming excitement was tempered a bit by the warnings from Dave and her parents. Everyone knew that Lamb's reputation preceded him. On the night of the party, Sarah brought the house down, but at the end of the night, she was rebuked when she asked for the rest of her fee. She spent the next 2 weeks going back every day to demand payment, and finally, Lamb's accomplices took her contract and cast it into the roaring fireplace, leaving her dejected. She had thought about letting it be and allowing herself to become another cautionary tale surrounding Gaedren Lamm, but just a few days later, she found a Harrow card tucked between the strings and neck of her lute. The card was the unicorn, and Sarah was infatuated by the vibrant art of the card. She turned it over, and after reading the message on the back, she knew she had to follow the instructions, resolving to get her money by any means necessary. Okay, fair. Last but not least, a tiefling named Sin sits outside, taking in the sights and sounds of the Corvosan slums. Life didn't always resemble a struggle for him, as he once had a loving home and family to call his own. His parents didn't always have the easiest time making ends meet, but they did their best for him and his older brother, until the burden of providing for multiple children finally broke them. Desperate for a windfall, his parents struck a deal with the devil. Sin would be transformed into a daemon spawn, and his brother would experience his own transformation, but he would become an Aasimar instead. Sin was eventually picked up by a man who he only knew very briefly, as not long after their first encounter, Sin was sold into slavery. He bounced around a bit between a few different masters before eventually ending up with Gaedren Lamm, the cruelest of them all. Gaedren used Sin to commit theft throughout the city, and even though he proved to be skilled enough, he received no approval from Gaedren or his underlings. Even the other child slaves mocked Sin for his tiefling features, which led to even more resentment toward his own situation and his family for putting him into it. Years later, Sin managed to escape into the impoverished parts of Corvosa, and before long, rumors of his survival reached his family. After learning that he was still alive, Sin's brother began to pursue him in the hopes of confronting the taint in their blood from the Devil's Pact and eradicate it from existence. So far, Sin has had no trouble remaining hidden within the metropolis, but he struggles to find peace amid the constant reminders of the life he once had. Over the years, he's learned to control his anger and even weaponize it, allowing his sorrows to fuel his fighting spirit. He balances his rage with a humorous disposition, using comedy to cope with the world around him. As he takes in one last puff of smoke, Sin feels the cold breeze and notices a card about to sail past him. He snatches it out of the air and is immediately drawn to the image depicted on the card. A peacock standing over the petrified head of a person. He saw a bit of himself in the card, believing himself to be on the verge of figuring out how to reclaim that life that he once had. When he read the message on the back of the card, he knew he had to learn more, and in his mind, he had nothing to lose. And the message on the card is this.
I know what Gaedren has done to you. He has wronged me as well. I know where he dwells, yet cannot strike at him. Come to my home at 3 Lancet Street at sunset. Others like you will be there. Gaedren must face his fate, and justice must be done.
All right, so prior to the game, I have made secret roles for everybody. So we're going to proceed from here with basically everyone's arrival at this address. So let me go in my notes here. What's up? You didn't hear it? You heard nothing. That okay? Make sure you have the bot turned up in the Discord. But I will. But I'll read it. I'll read. No, it's fine. I'll read it out. So it said. Let me find it here. Okay, he goes. The note said, "I know what Gaedren has done to you. He has wronged me as well. I know where he dwells, yet I cannot strike at him. Come to my house at 3 Lancet Street at sunset. Others like you will be there. Gaedren must face his fate, and justice must be done." No worries. So, at the address listed on the card, there is a quaint and modest home with minimal signage. The only indication of who might reside here being an image of a crystal ball on the face of the mailbox. Move people to. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna get to that in a second. It's just Roll20 like overhauled a lot of their shit in the time off, so I'm trying to figure out how to move everybody around. Here we go. I did. I saw it. I saw it. Yeah. I didn't like read through it all yet, but I yep, I know it's there. All right. Everybody can see a map on roll 20. Okay. Okay. Well, you'll be seeing a proper map soon enough because Sarah, you are the first to arrive at the house. Um. So yeah, you arrive and as I described, you see a very modest looking home. You see the mailbox that has a crystal ball on it. The door appears to be very slightly ajar. All right, so you go ahead and you tap the door a little bit. Um, you don't hear an immediate answer. You peek and you just take a peek through what you can see. You don't see any people. Um, but you figure whoever sent you this note must be expecting you if they left the door open a little bit. All right, so you head inside. You see that the interior of this humble home consists of a single cozy chamber filled with a fragrant haze of flowers and strong spice aromas. These come. This comes from. God damn it! This comes from several sticks of incense smoldering in wall-mounted burners that look like butterfly-winged elves. The smoke gives the room sort of a dreamy feel. The walls are draped with tapestries, one showing a black skulled beast juggling human hearts, another showing a pair of angels dancing atop a snow blasted mountain. There's a third tapestry on the far wall depicting a tall, hooded figure shrouded in mist, holding a flaming sword in a skeletal hand. There are several brightly colored rugs covering the floor, but the room's only furnishings are a wooden table covered by a bright red throw cloth and five elegant tall backed chairs. Um, under the table, there is a basket covered by a blue cloth. Uh, yeah. There are doors. There's a door here. There's a door here. Yes. Okay. Um, so yeah, you tap each of the two other doors in turn. Doesn't there doesn't appear to be any response. Um, you do notice that there is a note in the center of the table. The note is secured in place by a stone paperweight. Okay. And now that you've actually turned up the bot, I can properly play this and you'll hear it, and that makes everybody happy. So the note reads.
Thank you for coming. I had to step out for a bit, but shall return shortly. Please, have a seat while you wait. The basket under the table contains bread and drink for you.
Okay. Okay. The basket is filled with some bread and a bottle of wine. Okay, understandable. Um, all right. Around the time that you are getting settled in your seat, you see a tall dragon-like creature arrive as Reef walks in the door. I'll just seat you at the other head of the table. Um, so the wine is nothing special, but it tastes good enough. While Reef searches for more drinks, another visitor enters. This is a second human, um, as Nadia has now arrived. Oh, good. I don't have to move your token then. You're right by the door. Okay. Yeah. 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 Move. Take whichever seat you like. I just So yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. You click and drag it. Oh no. All right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, as far as the bread is concerned, slightly stale but filling. At this point, there is one last addition to the room as you see a tiefling just slip into the door past Nadia, who is posted right next to it. Um, it's okay. God damn it. Okay. Uh, Geez, good question. Sarah, roll it's a crazy thing to roll for our first roll of the campaign. Uh, give me a reflex save. Oh come on, we weren't off for that long. 15. You effortlessly deflect the bread away. Reef, go ahead and roll perception to loot the house of tiny trinkets. 10. Okay, so yeah, you don't find too much. This is obviously someone who takes great pains to live within their means. So you find like, a couple stray coins here and there, some silver pieces. I would say maybe like 3 to 5 silver pieces. Just in random spots, fell out of a pocket or fell off a shelf or something. Um, that's really it. No like items of any other value. All right, I will take the silence as hey man, move on. So, all right. At this point, the owner of the house is going to walk in as she was just coming in from outside. You see an attractive, middle aged Varisian woman with long, dark hair. She takes a seat at the other end of the table opposite Reef. Um, Gives all of you a smile. She looks at all of you and says, "Thank you for coming to my home at my behest. My name is Zalara. Um, please tell me a bit about yourselves." And before anyone responds, she takes a Harrow deck out of her pocket, and she just starts idly shuffling the cards, just waiting for you guys to respond. She just says, "I don't know your names." Geez, at this point, I'm starting to feel like a bad host. Everybody's a bad host. So Zalara takes a look at all of you, and as she continues to shuffle her cards through her fingers, and she really makes them look effortless. They kind of just like float through her hands as she's shuffling the deck. Um, she says the following.
Thank you for coming, my friends, and for putting up with my unconventional method of contacting you. I have reason to remain hidden. You see, a vicious man would see great harm done to me if he knew I was reaching out for help. This man has done something terrible to each of you as well. I speak, of course, of Gaedren Lamm, a man whose cruelty and capacity to destroy the lives of those he touches are matched only by his gift of avoiding reprisal. You see, a year ago, his thieves stole this, my Harrow deck, from me. It is important to me, an heirloom passed down through a dozen generations, and also my sole means of support. When Lamm's pickpockets stole it, my Senaran tracked them down and returned my deck to me. But Gaedren had him followed, and soon after he left my home, Gaedren's thugs murdered him. I sought help from the Corvosan Guard, but they turned me away. And so I asked around. I paid bribes. I consulted my Harrow deck for advice. And recently I was rewarded. I found out where Gaedren dwells. He can be found in an old fishery north of here, at West Pier 17, where he trains abducted children to be pickpockets and counts his stolen treasures. But I need your help. I cannot hope to face this man on my own, and the guard moves so slowly that if they were willing to help, Gaedren would certainly know of their coming well in advance. And even if they arrested him, what guarantee would I have he would be punished? This criminal has evaded the law for decades, but you know of these frustrations as well, for word on the street has it that Gaedren has wronged each of you too. So there we are. It is time for him to pay.
And she then says, I can perform a harrowing for you to help you prepare for this task. And she does not wait for any of you to respond, whether that's a yes or a no. And she begins dealing cards. So we're going to get into the first harrowing of this campaign. I have 9 cards in my hand. And I need each of you to give me a number between 1 and 9. 2 people cannot pick the same number. So if we can either, okay, 7, 5, 4, 9. All right, so let's see here. All right, so Nadia's card is this one, the Rabbit Prince. I need to make a note. I need to make a note of this somewhere. All right, 5 was Sarah. And Sarah, your card is the Locksmith. Seven is Sin. Okay, Sin, your card is the Crows. Finally, Reef, your card is the Dance. Okay. So that is part 1 of the harrowing. known as the choosing. Those cards are going to matter later. Now, just give me one moment. I have to shuffle the choosing cards into the deck, and then we can proceed with the rest of the reading. Okay. Once the deck has been reshuffled, Zalara deals another set of 9 cards. These are going to be arranged in a 3x3 grid. And she is going to begin by revealing the cards in the left-hand column. And then she will begin interpreting those cards. I just have to put these in to my handy little cheat sheet here. Okay. So in the top left, she reveals the first card as the Foreign Trader. So, she says, do any of you deal in information? Hmm. How long have you known him? You know, what's your history? Hmm. I can tell that he is someone that you've leaned on before. I would keep him close if I were you. You may well need him again in the future. The second card, she gives you a just a subtle nod in agreement with your statement. Second card in the middle left is the bear. Yep. She says the bear represents many things. It given its placement here, one or more of you perhaps has had a past where you have been able to exhibit true strength. However, you may also have mistakenly believed that this strength can be tamed within you or trained into some other purpose. And once you believe that that's fully under your control, perhaps you may have seen the error in your ways, though perhaps not. I would advise a bit of care and forethought in your attempt to retrieve your revenge and my missing items from Gaedren. Final card on the left, in the bottom left, is the Queen Mother. And she says, "Ah, yes. This card often represents knowledge, a wealth of knowledge in the past of someone here. Someone perhaps who's done a lot of studying, or someone who wishes to use their knowledge to achieve a goal or accomplish a task. Or if any of you are feeling that you were unfairly outcast, perhaps you once believed in your past that you needed to re-engage yourself with society, or maybe to take a back seat to someone who knows more than you. Does this resonate with any of you? Certainly. And that philosophy could prove useful. She then moves to the middle column and begins turning up the three cards there. Okay. So, um, whereas the cards on the left are more representative of the past, the middle cards represent the present. And she begins with the card in the top row, which is the brass dwarf. She says, "This card tells me that right now, one or all of you have weathered many personal storms to be here. And in the face of all of the adversity, you remain strong and steadfast in your goals. However, The the omens of this card are not always positive. It could mean a dark fate, it could mean failure, but in turn, it could still save many others from grave danger. The card in the dead center is the Inquisitor. It doesn't have to, but it could. Now, the Inquisitor represents truth above all else. So much so that going against this truth is a recipe for disaster. One or more of you may be struggling with a personal truth or some sort of maybe an outside force um, pushing what they believe to be the truth upon you. And if you are attempting to fight back against that truth, just know that even if you are right, you may not be ready yet. Please take care. Okay, so that. Oh, if only it worked that way. It's no trouble. I'm glad you enjoyed the wine. And again, my name is Zalara. Allow me to finish the reading, and then I will go get you some more. She and your choosing card, which was the dance. She flips over the card in the bottom middle, which is the theater. Um, she says, "This card often represents prophecy. As you can see, the puppets are acting out a scene, and in a prophecy, the prophet themselves act out a scene in which they have no part. The The prophet is the audience, and the prophecy is the show. However, this card in its placement in the reading is misaligned. So though the prophet may not have any influence on what they see in the show, in this case, if any of you have a prophecy that is weighing upon you right now, it may itself be only for show. So she says, well, not every prophecy comes to pass, and some are nothing more than urban legend, or worse, entirely imagined. Zalar raises a hand and Zalar raises a hand and says, "Be calm." the The cards the cards do not mock or accuse, nor do they explicitly say who each each of their messages pertains to. I'm quite certain that you are exactly who you need to be to justify why I've brought you here. She says, she begins to reveal the cards on the right side, and she says, and now the messages that pertain to your futures. All right. Let's see. Oh, very interesting. Oh, and she reveals the first card on the top right, and she says, "Oh, this is very interesting." sickness. Well, you are correct to assume that the this card normally represents plague and pestilence and famine and disease and all manner of nasty things like those. It, this card you received the unicorn, I believe. Yeah, it was the unicorn. Yeah. Essentially, the two of you are now honorary kobolds. No one used the word concubine, bro. No, no, that's not what this card means. Although, congratulations, that's very exciting for you. Um, this card can also mean corruption of one or more souls. However, this card also stands misaligned. So, in your future, this card portends either great health or perhaps more suited in all of your talents, the chance to stop such a disaster from happening. The next card in the mid right is the Eclipse. She says that those of you who have been especially wronged by Gaedren Lamm, and no offense to our musically inclined friend here, but the others have all been forced into servitude under him. So this card is more about them. Or and she begins to like scan the three of you, and then she stops on Nadia because she notices a holy symbol. And she says, you hurt for your family, yes? Yes. Is your sister not missing? Does this not pain you? How have your. How should I say this? Have your abilities or your convictions or your mental state, how have you been dealing with the stress? Has it been affecting you negatively? It is good that there are others like yourself in this room who have suffered because of Gaedren Lamm. Maybe one of them will be able to assist you at a time when you might not know that you'll need their help. And then the final card in the bottom right, this one perfectly aligned actually, is the snake bite. Yep, it is. It is one of the cards that Lily drew. She says, well, I will simply tell you this. At one point, there was another there was another one who I had considered inviting here tonight to be here with all of you. And I decided against it because I performed a reading for myself, and this exact card appeared in the very position that it is in right now. No, it's not your sister. It's this is someone else that none of you know, or at least I don't believe any of you know. But it was someone who could have been here. No, as I said, none of you know this person. I the snake bite oftentimes will indicate that friends may turn against one another, or that otherwise virtuous minds will be poisoned. And that left me with a bad feeling about this other person that I was thinking about inviting here. And so I didn't go through with it. And I merely hope that the one I excluded was the right choice. Roll knowledge local. So Reef, you begin thinking about um you know everything that you mentioned, and after a few seconds, your mind is overtaken by the thought of, now where's that wine? Sin, what do you want to know? Oh, sorry, I just very slightly backed up my chair, and I almost ran over Ember, so she just sprang up behind me. Yeah, sorry. Um. So yeah, Reef was you were trying to basically just like see if you know much about what everyone else like represents, I guess, right? Like you said, like Nadia's religion. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So in that sense, Sin, I mean, you know about the different faiths that are well represented here in Corvosa. So you would be able to recognize like the iconography of Shaylin that Nadia has on some of her armor or holy symbol. Um, I would say that Sarah is like starting to make a name for herself as a musician. Maybe you've overheard her playing at some point. Maybe you've heard whispers about her performance at Gaedren's party. So I mean, you may not know like face to name like that's her, but yeah, like I would say like enough people are starting to learn about her that maybe you would know. Um, Reef is more of like an outsider to the city. Yeah, all in the same breath. Taylor Swift, Dua Lipa, serotonin. Um, I know. Uh, Reef is someone who mostly has operated just outside the city limits. So you probably wouldn't know much about Reef beforehand, but definitely looks definitely looks like an imposing figure. Perhaps not. Um, the reading is now complete. Uh, Zalara goes and fetches another bottle of wine and sets it down on the table. Reach out and touch me. Natalie. Oh, don't die. Oh no. Zalara just says, I hope that you'll be ready to depart soon. Because if you wait too long, Gaedren may well find out that someone is coming for him and will move his hideout somewhere else. As she to answer Sin's question, as Lara had mentioned before, um, his current hideout is at an old fishery to the north, West Pier 17. Yeah, West Pier 17. Not even. Also, I'm going to stick something in the. Well, I'll put it in multiple places. That's the results of the reading. So yeah, so Harrow cards all have alignments attached to them. Um, and this is what and that's where the aligned misaligned cards come from. It's color coded. This is like kind of like this is like the spreadsheet that I use, like a cheat sheet. Blue means that a card is perfectly aligned. Yellow means partially aligned. Red means misaligned. Or red means completely misaligned. If there's a partial misalignment, then it'll just say underneath the description, like, this is what it means if it's misaligned. All right, so before we proceed, there is a mechanic, and this is going to be the recurring mechanic for this campaign. And unlike the sin points from last campaign, I'm actually going to tell you what it is at the beginning of the campaign. So, in each part of this campaign, everyone is going to get a resource called Harrow Points. Everybody gets one Harrow Point for the choosing, and also, if there are any cards which match the suit of the Harrow deck that is corresponding to the book that we're running, you get additional hero points. That did not happen this time. So everybody's going to get 1 hero point for this book. And I will indicate that on your tokens with that number 1 right there. I'm going to get to that. So for this book, the suit that was associated with the suit of the Harrow deck associated with is Keys, which represents the ability score Dexterity. Now, you may spend your 1 hero point during this adventure on any of the following things. First, you can use a hero point for a reroll on an initiative check, a reflex save, a dexterity based attack roll, or a dexterity based check. Could be a skill check, or it could just be a straight dexterity ability check. Or you could spend it to gain a +1 dodge bonus to your AC for 1 encounter. Or you can spend it to increase your speed by 10 feet for 1 encounter. Additionally, and this one is going to be triggered by me rather than you guys. There is each of the 9 cards that were present in the choosing are attached to individual encounters that can occur during the adventure. When the encounter that matches your card appears, you will automatically gain a benefit that I will tell you when it happens for that 1 encounter. That doesn't require any points or anything like that. All right. So, with that, the 4 of you collect your things. If you have any wine to drink still, you take that for the road, and you begin making your way up north towards the old fishery. Well, no, you don't have to go right in. I'm just, it was only a suggestion, but sure. Well, she straight up told you where it is. Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Uh. Yeah, I would say that actually the address that Zalara gave doesn't ring a bell. That's a good, really good question though. I like that. uh, yeah. So I up. Sure. That sounds right. Sure. All right, yeah. So let's see. Okay, it says you have 5 gold left, so I'll convert that to copper. Plus the silver you found earlier. Sure. Yeah. Uh, I I moved you guys to a different map, so well, let's find out. Let me copy the tokens over and okay, all your tokens are on this new map towards the bottom on the left. All right. I mean, I could play around with that more to see if it have it displayed for everybody. So. Yeah, it's so. Um, After a short walk, you arrive at the address that Zalara gave you, West Pier 17. This appears to be the old fishery. You find a creaking and decrepit-looking building, although the foundation remains solid, um, and probably will continue to be solid for at least a few more years. You see that all of the external windows are boarded shut. They do, however, have like decent sized slits between the planks to allow those inside the fishery to look out. Um, the doors, double doors in front of you, are covered in mold and grit, although they too are solid. And you notice that most of the structure is perched atop of the whole fishery is atop a steep embankment, with most of the structure extending out over the Jagari River on several wooden pilings. Now it is nighttime, as you know, you had met at Zalara's at sunset. Um, as such, the doors in front of you are locked. And that means I have to move something around real fast. So, what do you guys want to do? Okay, so you take flight. You I imagine you're just. It kind of sounds to me like you're just taking a lap around the perimeter. Okay, go ahead and roll perception. Ooh, very nice. So you quickly learn that Gaedren, at least at nighttime, doesn't station any guards on the outside of the fishery. Um, you do manage to catch glimpses inside of the fishery as you were flying around. Um, you find that your eyesight is particularly keen tonight. You see several orphans milling about the fishery. Um, you find that there is a man who is asleep in this part of the fishery here. It's not Gaedren, one of his underlings. You find that there are um, two others who are up and about, keeping watch of the orphans at nighttime. There is a gnome that has a pretty crazed look on his face, sort of walking around, kind of like poking at the at some of the orphans with a curved blade, like trying to get them to work faster. Um, in a different room, you find a half orc who wears an eye patch, and at one point when you fly by and catch a peek of whatever it is he's doing, you swear you hear him laughing. Um, he also in the room with him are more orphans, and there is a pretty mangy looking dog in the room as well. Um, that's about all you find in your scan of the fishery itself. Sexual healing. Sexual. So starting you're starting a bardic performance to inspire courage? Question mark? Okay. So yeah, that's gonna not a thing, no. That's 5e. Okay, so everybody gains the benefits of inspire courage. And all right, so yeah, Inspire Courage is going to provide you all with a +1 competence bonus on attack and weapon rolls, weapon damage rolls, I should say, and as well as a +1 morale bonus on any saving throws against charm and or fear effects. All right. So, as I said, the set of doors in front of you are locked. There are a few other entry points that you could try. Reef was able to locate another set of double doors here, a single door up that way. Let me just make sure that goes to where it says it goes. Actually, scratch that one. This one leads to like a lower level, which Reef was not able to really look into while flying above everything. Just spotted at the door that goes lower, and then there's a third door over here, sort of like a back alley. You, if there was anything that you would have recognized, it would have been the laughter coming from that half orc. All right, so that is probably going to be the side door here. Okay. So yeah, you go down the alley to the door here. Um, using the knock that you would know of. At first, you don't hear anything coming from the room where you know that someone is asleep. Um, there's a bit of a delay, but yeah, you don't hear anything just yet. Uh, you do hear the dog begin barking from inside. Oh, don't move inside. uh, so eventually, you hear stirring from the aforementioned sleeping man room. You hear some muffled, angered speaking as someone is getting up out of bed and exiting the door and making their way towards you. Now, just to be clear, based on what everybody's tokens are, this is everyone is with you, or all right. So I will remedy that by moving people over. Yeah, you're all in the back alley, and yeah, let me. So the door slides open just very little, um, and you are met by actually, yeah, you're met by a very um, very bitter looking um, human, um, middle aged male, blonde hair. Um, kind of just seems like he has like a permanent scowl on his face. And he looks like he has a taste for expensive clothing. He wears a pretty nice red shirt that has long sleeves. He wears a very finely pressed pair of black pants. He has boots, Very nice black gloves. Wears like a nice, pretty gaudy and big looking like gold belt buckle. With like a white sort of undershirt. He takes a look at Nadia, and then takes a longer look at Sarah. Uh, um, he he looks at you and he says, "You have a familiar face." He said it to Sarah. Hmm. Interesting. Um, Reef, roll bluff, please. He pauses for a moment, and he looks back towards Reef and says, "Strange hour of the night for this." Pretty stupid benefactor paying people before the work is done. Uh, Given your commentary, he is going to pull a dagger, and he's just gonna play with it in his hand for a moment, and he just says, "All right, yeah, they come in." But you won't. You won't be long for this world talking about Gaedren Lamm like that. Right. Take it under advisement then. I'm actually gonna, because I know you mentioned the thing about the dynamic light. I'm gonna slide everyone's tokens like away from the building. Just maybe that'll help. But yeah, so he at this point will open the door, allowing you guys to come inside. He says, yeah, I'll tell you what. You keep watch outside and make sure no more kooks try to come disturb me while I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, he's so he ushers the other three inside. And you could tell that like he's already a little bit distracted, and like yeah, your eyes meet with the rest of your traveling companions, let's say. And yeah, I would say message delivered on that front. So after the door closes again and is once again locked, he turns to Nadia and Sin, and he says, well, after pointing towards Sarah, he says, well, I already know what this one does. What about you two? Is she now? Didn't realize I was getting a 2-for-1 special. They pull you out of the church or something? World's oldest profession really knows no bounds then. Alright. You two come with me. And then he looks back towards Sin and just says, You look serviceable. I'm sure you could find something to do. And he brings Sarah and Nadia into his quarters. Roll stealth. Actually, hold on. This might be bluff. Let me remind myself of which skill this is. It is. Oh yeah, you guys can discuss that among yourselves. It is bluff to convey a secret message. Yes. As far as you could tell, this man thinks that you were just offering Nadia a little encouragement. He cracks like a half smile and says, "Don't worry, love. It won't hurt you." All right, so Nadia, you watch as Sarah steps over and presumably begins to initiate conversation. Under the guise of that distraction, go ahead and roll perception to try and find some kind of object or other. Okay, so let's role play the distraction because clearly Nadia is going to be a while with that roll. So he is going to look at Sarah and says, "Right, well, what kind of services are you offering? You know, everyone has their limits. Don't want to offend. You seem like a nice lady." Well, it's like I told your friend. Won't hurt you. Tristan, to your message, roll stealth. No, sin. Okay, that's fine. So armor check penalty does not apply then. For the shield at least, it doesn't apply. Okay, that's fine. We can redo the math. So what's that? 14. Okay. So as you are going through your do's and don'ts, Sarah, Sin is sneaking around within fishery. I'll open the door. All right, so Sin, I opened the door right here just so you can probably move through it now, I would hope. And they are in this room here. All right. Sarah, you notice that his gaze leaves you for a moment as he looks towards the door, Um, no. Just making sure that your friend is finding something to do. Given that he's walking around, I'm sure that he is. Oh, not her. The other one. The one with the horns. Right. Well, you were mentioning how gentle you need me to be. All right. Nadia, I would say, yeah, it's been long enough. You can make another perception check to search a different area of the room. 11. Okay. So the search is being made slightly more difficult by, how thick Sarah's laying it on here. Which, causes you to let out a couple playful giggles here and there. Now, at this point, you do notice that there are certain alchemical materials in this room. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong room. You do find, as you are doing your best not to be seen as searching, at one point, Sarah, you notice that Nadia's getting close to the other bed in the room, and you quickly sort of put your hand on this man's shoulder and kind of like spin him away from being able to see what she's doing. Okay, at this point, Nadia, you reach under this other bed and you kind of fumble around for a moment or two, and eventually you pull out an empty, what looks like a glass potion bottle. So, yeah, that's what you find. Yeah, and the distraction worked for just long enough for Nadia to find this bottle. And you look up and you see that Sarah has gotten very into the distraction. It's hard not to. Okay. Yeah, so you see and Sarah's back's to the wall at this point in the corner. I'm just gonna move the tokens to reflect this. And so this man's back is to you. So this is going to be an improvised weapon. So just hit your melee button on your sheet if you're able. If not, I'll do it for you. Oh, well, it was quick on my end. Gotcha. No, she didn't. Okay, so you swing this this potion vial and you bonk him on the head. It doesn't shatter. It doesn't appear to have caused any real damage to him, but you've bonked him on the head, and the expression on his face goes from, hey, I'm gonna get some, to, hey, I'm gonna kill the person who just did that. He is mad. Roll bluff. Nadia. He is going to take the vial from you and just say, well, you can't give someone a drink in an empty vessel. And he's going to take it and smash it on the bedpost, holding, one end, the stopper end in his hand, with the, of course, now jagged shatter. Yes, and now he is doing this to protect himself, and he is going to point the business end of this now shattered vial at each of you in turn, and he is going to say, let's not try anything silly again. And then he turns back to Sarah and he says, now where were we? Still holding this thing, by the way. No, I don't think I do. He is going to attempt to grab you. All right. Okay, so he only rolls a 7. So you are basically, he's only grabbing you because you're allowing him to at the moment. Like, and his grip isn't anything that you wouldn't be able to escape at the moment. But you're kind of just playing along. And yeah, so Nadia, what do you want to do now? That sounds like a cue if I've ever heard one. Okay. So check that off on your sheet. Your controlled rage. All right. All right. So point of order, he locked the door behind him. You can certainly try. Right. Yep. 18. You actually fail to pick the lock. But yeah, since you're not raging, you can certainly stab the lock. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and then I guess make an attack roll on the lock. No. Your next idea potentially just becomes breaking the door rather than the lock. Okay. This is gonna be a just a strength check. Okay. Yes. 17 breaks the door. The dog barking is going to resume now. It's broken. And obviously that's generated some noise. But you've successfully busted the door. And yeah, you find that this man has got one hand on Sarah, what he believes to be a forcible grip on Sarah. The other hand still clutching this like broken potion vial. You see Nadia kind of just fumbling around the room, and now you're there, weapon drawn. Okay, so you remember that it is sort of like at the back of the building where you spotted the orc as well as the dog. So if you're gonna perch from there, then it's gonna be like, I mean, I don't know the token because then you're gonna see stuff. But you're just in this general area here, like on the roof. Yeah. The dog barking is audible enough. I'd say roll perception for the door. No, you didn't hear the door break. You just know that the dog is now going nuts again. Mhm. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, you do hear just because this is like directly beneath you, the shuffling of a bunch of different footsteps, most of them small sounding, so you can assume that they're orphans. Um, the dog, like I said, is, still barking his head off. Um, Kind of moved a bit more towards like this area. Sounds like it's still within the same room. You didn't hear any other doors open. There are one set of larger footfalls that are beginning to mobilize. You can maybe presume that to be the orc. Okay, gotcha. All right. So, as far as the rest of you are concerned, we are going to roll initiative, I guess, because Sin is there, weapon drawn, and he is proverbially caught this man, not quite with his pants down yet, but thinking that he's going to get to that point. So let's see what we roll here. We are, yeah. Oh. Yeah, oh no, I'm being held. You need me to roll Nadia, or you got it? I can roll. All right. No, you're good. You're good. All right, so just the four of you for now. Badman goes first. He's going to look towards the door, and he looks at Sin and says, "It's not what I had in mind when I told you to find something to do." He's going to drop the busted vial, and he's going to pull out a wand. He must use magic device to activate the wand, so he's going to try to do that, and he does. He rolls 14 on a ranged touch spell, which hits as Sin. You watch as this wand produces a spray of acid that is fired towards you, and you suffer 2 points of acid damage. Yeah, one of the only things you're not resistant to. But it's now your turn. Mm. Right in the tongue. All right, cool. I like that. Ooh. That's you got a max damage roll at least. That's encouraging. Um, yeah. So he sees you enter and he sees you go ahead and take a swing for his face, and he ducks while maintaining his not really grip on Sarah. And he in response he just spits at your feet. He's like pathetic. All right, so from there, from there you maintain your position, blocking the door. Nadia, you're up. So yeah, you're already adjacent to him. Okay. Yeah, you are allowed to cast it on yourself. Yeah. All right then. Shield of Faith. Sheet for some reason. On your buff thing. So let's do that. And you give yourself a boost to your AC. Sarah. Mm-hmm. Um, kind of like a hand, like kind of like on your shoulder, moving towards your neck. It forces what? Sorry. Okay, cool. All right, so you're just gonna play into what he's doing. Got it. Gotcha. Let me change the music. That's not what I wanted. There's supposed to be music, but we'll just go with this. It's fine. It's because they have a separate thing for him, but it also involves something else, and that thing is not here yet. So, all right. So on his turn, he is. Okay. All right, so he is going to once again try to activate his wand, and this time he's going to kind of shift his position with Sarah to almost not quite like go all the way around to like using Sarah as a shield, but he's going to continue his grappling, not really, a bit more defensively. But he's once again going to attempt to use his wand. activating it again and trying to utilize it against Sin. I think there's... oh, really? That doesn't... Huh. Interesting. Okay, so he activates the wand. That doesn't provoke. But I do believe that the actual casting... oh, no, activating this. So, alright. So he sends another splash of acid towards Sin, which hits with a 16. Sin takes 1 point of acid damage this time. And it's now Sin's turn. $14 hits. So yeah, you slash at his family jewels and find purchase, and he looks at you and he's in pain, and he just says, "Oh, that's low. Slashing a man in the privates. Yeah, I could tell. Won't be having anything for much longer, I'm afraid." Just wait till the help arrives. Nadia, your turn. You do. You have to stay. You have to take a step back to hit him with it because it's a reach weapon. But you do have a weapon. Yeah, 10 feet. 10 feet's where you want. Oh God, you're upside down. No, that's alright. Happens. I did. Yeah, no, I fixed it. It's already done. Hmm. 11 misses, unfortunately. All right, so at the end of your turn, Sarah, you obviously saw that Sin slashed your boy in the area that he was intending to use. Which he's clearly not too happy about. Okay. All right, so that is... I would say that's... yeah, I would say it's easy enough to create a little bit of distance for yourself, given that he got slashed in the dick. But, so yeah, you knock his hand away from you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, easy enough. You just even you didn't have to roll. Like you knock his hand away. Yeah, you just you knock his hand away in the while he's being distracted by the pain that he's in. And yeah, you give yourself a little breathing room, and you can still act. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Okay. So he sees now that he's surrounded. He is going to pull out a dagger of his own. Now that he feels like he's cornered. And he looks at you, Sarah, and he just says, "Well played, but I'll deal with you later." And he goes to try to stab Sin with the dagger. That is a natural 20, but the confirm roll is only a 12, so not confirmed. He deals 4 points of piercing damage. Sin, your turn. Okay. Hits and 9 points of slashing damage. So the man goes down. Still breathing, but down. At this point, Reef, you can make another perception check for me. Oh no. Night sky sure looks great tonight. Yeah. There's a chill in the air, but there's a lot of stars. And that dog that's barking, it's still barking his head off. Pay it no mind. That said, if you have any, desire to just try to enter the building under your own accord, Okay, at this point, I will say that, again, due to the volume of the dog barking, you could at least tell that it is moving once again. It's now back towards the middle of the fishery, rather than the side. Okay. So yeah, you take flight. Which you go towards the room that you think everybody's in, the bedroom. All right, so you go fly that way. You stop at the window that's right here. You see that Sin has weapon in hand, and the guy that you were speaking to is unconscious on the bed. You see Sarah kind of just like standing up from having been on the floor, kind of just readjusting her clothing. Nadia has her weapon drawn as well. You see that. Actually, roll another check. Roll another perception check for this one. You just love rolling fours, huh? You are... You are too distracted by what you perceive to be Sin having killed this man to notice that there are more henchmen that are now joining the fight. As from one direction, which nobody can see right now because the people in the room have their back turned to this. Um, the gnome and the half orc have arrived in the room next to where you guys all are, and the dog has followed. Now add them to the initiative as well. What's up? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to fight it if you don't want to. I'm not gonna make you kill a dog. But yeah, that's the other thing. Two of you are of evil alignment, so I thought you said you were. Right. What did I put in your sheet? Oh no, yeah. That is what I put in your sheet. That's right. I forget. You know what? I had lumped Rob's character in with that. That's what it was. Yeah. All right. So, with that, you can, yeah, we can add you to the order. The dog continuing to bark loudly does eventually alert you to what's going on behind Sin as you peer through the window. You do see the rather large looking half orc approaching Sin from behind with the dog in tow, and yeah, the gnome is out of view to everybody right now, except if Sin were to turn around. But yeah, for now it is the dog's turn. Actually, no. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let me pick up from there. So yeah, it's Nadia's turn. Okay. So this we can make this a coup de grace if you want. He's currently, like I said, he's unconscious on the bed. But if you want to just kill him, you can certainly kill him. All right, so you're just gonna hold, Sarah. Okay, so Sarah. All right, yes, you're holding an attack if he gets up. All right, cool. That is fair. You're still outside. No, this is though from the window where you're looking into. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Hmm. The half orc uh hears your words and just starts laughing like maniacally laughing. He's gonna walk into the room, kind of just push past Sin, and he's gonna just look down at the unconscious man who's bleeding out from his dick on this bed and his eyeball. Well, did you? Yeah, yeah, you did. You did. Yeah. Excuse me. Um. While continuing to laugh like a madman, he is going to pull out a potion and he is going to just shove the bottle into the guy's mouth. And he's just like, hee, drink up. Yep. Just forces it down. Like, doesn't even care if the guy's gonna like choke on it and die or anything. Just, yeah, potion of death. He recovers 2 hit points and wakes up. Kind of blinks a bunch and then his vision kind of clarifies and he looks at the half orc and he's just like, you fucking idiot, Giggles. Why aren't you killing him? And Giggles, as he's been so called, looks at each of you, and he is holding a weapon in his other hand. He's got a flail. And he just starts laughing again. Like, hold on, there's got to be a button for this. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Finally calms down. And the guy the guy looks at Giggles and just says, "Go get Gaedren, you idiot." Yes, you can. That's his response, by the way. Giggles does not care. Uh, that the laughter was just Giggles being Giggles. Like, not Giggles is just standing there laughing. So you're free to go fetch Gaedren if you want to. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So, okay. So two things. First of all, I took the word dog literally as like, the dog that's been barking this whole time, so that's funny, and I'm glad I was wrong about that. Second, um the window you are speaking through is still like mostly boarded up. So that could be your suggestion to the others in the room, which absolutely go ahead and roll diplomacy. And oh, 100%. Okay. Go ahead and roll go ahead and roll diplomacy. Okay. 14. So that this is what a great first session. Uh all right. So What do you mean? All right. In that case, Sarah, go ahead and roll diplomacy as well, and we'll treat this as aid another, because you are attempting to move the situation along. Okay. So that becomes a 16. No, aid another is a +2, as long as it's a good enough roll. So what happens here is Giggles. Well, before Giggles does anything, few of those. Flail grip tightens on the flail, and he is going to start very slowly kind of rotating it on the ground. Then he brings it up to his hip. Then he brings it up to his shoulder. And then he raises it overhead. Oh my god. And he fucking brains the shit out of him. That is a natural 20. Confirmed critical roll of a 21. Dealing 15 points of bludgeoning damage. My man's head just got Gallaghered. Yes. Yeah, there's a little bit of blood spray on Giggles, on Sarah, on Sin. I mean, I'm sure you could find someone who knows prestidigitation. Yeah. Sure, you can deactivate it. Well, hold that thought, actually. So outside of the room, again, dog's still barking. There is still another person or some such with the dog in the room, and it's more of a higher pitched voice you hear this time, and it just says, "Hey, big man, save some for me, will ya?" And at this point, Reef, if you believe this this summary murder to be satisfactory to you, like I said, Giggles doesn't care and about your desire to go fetch Gaedren. You're certainly allowed to do that if you want to. Okay, so you're not actually going to get Gaedren, is what I'm hearing. Okay, understandable. All right. Well, uh, so, well, roll perception. Hooray! Yeah. So, 19. You actually do recognize the voice. Belongs to yet another of Gaedren's higher-ranking underlings. A gnome. A gnome by the name of Hookshanks. So in your experience under Gaedren, you know Hookshanks to be very ill-tempered as well as having a short fuse. You also know that of Gaedren's sort of like second-hand guys, um, Giggles being among them, as well as the guy that was just killed, um, and Hookshanks, of course. Hookshanks was always the most um, mean to the orphans. He would often threaten them by saying that he was going to feed them to the dog. Um, and his position, sort of within the sort of syndicate here, is he's something of a taskmaster. All right, strength roll, please. With help from the others, if any of you on the inside want to help. No, it's not going to matter. Yeah, you want to walk over to the window? Yep, fair. Go right ahead. Yeah, no dice. The two of you just kind of like beat at the planks that are boarding up the window. To no avail. um, I'll let you both try one more time before something else happens. Okay, 18. Yeah, Sin breaks the window. Tag me in. Okay. Oh yeah, at this point Hookshanks walks in. And he sees the situation, and of course the first thing that he is met with upon entering is giggles, just giggling at at what he's done, and he's just like, Giggles, you fucking moron. You're supposed to kill them. Not Yargan. What did Yargan do to you? And Hookshanks says, him? He gets it? He can't get a clue. And as for what Yargan was doing, I'll be doing far worse when I'm done with you. And okay, well, hold all these thoughts, because I know what time it is, and I'm respecting the desire for hard ends at certain points of the night. So we'll call it here for now. We'll pick this back up next week. That is very smart. Make sure you put that somewhere that's easy to find, whether it's in this chat or the Discord chat or well, probably not Messenger chat. It might get buried there, but or that too. Yeah. You could DM me on Messenger. That works too. But like I said, that was some kind of first session. And if that's if that's how things are going to go in this campaign, I'm very excited. So you have to kind of recap the situation here. You have you've killed one. Well, you didn't kill him. Fucking Giggles killed him. You did the heavy lifting, yes. And then Giggles did a little heavy lifting of his own. Yeah, Nadia did nothing to the point that you didn't even want to stay in the room with the healer. You just jumped out the window. Yeah. Sarah just being like, "Oh no, please don't have sex with me. No." Well, yeah, no, no. It's got nothing to do with that. It's the fishery. The it's large, and the roof does cover the whole building. Um. So yes. So yes. So I think where I got confused was I wasn't sure if you like when if you were continuing to take laps around the building as you were watching, or if you were just posted in one spot, because when you said that you wanted to be where you thought they were, I had placed you like on the roof. Right. Okay. Okay. So that yeah, that's on me. I didn't. Oh, the role play was excellent, and yeah, like I said, it's only session one. We got plenty of time to clean these things up. Oh, that was so great. Immediately in my head, I was just like, phrasing. I just pictured like Reef as like you guys know those like dorkly bits, like short videos. So I pictured Reef like sitting in the window and just like looking down and like feeling a chub coming on, and just being like, huh, neat. I mean, I'm gonna say this, and I mean, I'm just gonna say this. No, nobody take this the wrong way. You chose to play a bard, so yep. Yeah. Well, because the whole point of the initial sequence was Sarah was causing a distraction so that she could, yeah, and not stab him to death. But that would have worked too. She could have totally just tried to like draw her glaive, and now there's a corpse on top of me, like uh well, all right. That was Yes. I'm proud of you too. Almost almost entirely correct notes. Yes. So cards. Got it. Oh my god. Giggles is a Giggles is a fucking cohort. Like oh, well, we can address that next week. Yeah. Um but now Reef is now concerned with getting shinies for everyone in the horde. Nice. All right. Well, I'm totally down to continue the conversation. Let me just end stream. So we're so glad to be back, and we're glad to see that we had some viewers tonight. We had one in our chat. Very thankful to have you here with us tonight. Come back next Sunday night. Join us for session 2 as we hopefully wrap up the events here in the old fishery, and get on with the get on with the meat of the campaign. So until then, hope you have a good week. If you are a fan of one of the remaining football teams, congratulations on making the superb owl. And yeah, go powerbomb someone through a table, as you guys want to do. But in the meantime, have a good week. We'll see you back here next Sunday, and we hope you have a great night.